Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And they say history doesn't just repeat itself, but it also rhymes, right? Well, if anybody thought that The Last of Us Season 2 was going to end up going over very well with the fans and the audience and actually be able to retain all of the people that they'd gained from Season 1, well, needless to say, it went the exact same way as the video game. All of the exact same controversies and all of the controversial story decisions that they made in The Last of Us Part 2, they did in The Last of Us Season 2 as well. And needless to say, the fans are not having any part of it. No matter how much the media tries to go out there and spin this show as a success, no matter how much Warner Brothers tries to come out there and tout it, how wonderful this is, there is no way in denying that the audience numbers have absolutely fallen off a cliff. The audience score is absolutely in the toilet, and needless to say, Season 3, even though it now has officially been announced, will end up being even worse than Season 1 because, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see over here, the headline from CosmicBook.News, The Last of Us Season 2 viewership collapses down over 50%. And it's not just Cosmic Book News. Obviously, That Part Place is talking about this exact same thing, as well as talking about the fact that, like, literally you've got Neil Druckmann out there going out there and saying, yeah, you shouldn't even listen to we're not going to listen to the critics or what the audience says or anything like that. We're just going to push forward. We're just going to do our thing and yada, yada, yada. And of course, the media cannot help themselves because Rotten Tomatoes touts critic score for The Last of Us Season 2 while ignoring the audience's ratings of 39%. So here, and it's even worse now than at the time they wrote the article. So I wonder what explains the absolute abysmal failure that The Last of Us Season 2 is currently seeing in its ratings. Boy, me thinks like the exact same thing happened all over again. I know. Weird concept, boys and girls. So we're going to check out these articles. We're going to get into all the juicy details of the media spin as well as the actual real numbers as to how bad things have gotten for The Last of Us Season 2. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 1,900. We're sailing our way towards 2K, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, let us know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Does it surprise you at all? The audience is checked out. Are you like many of the people out there in my chat who watched Season 1 but absolutely refuses to show up to Season 2 after what happened in the games? Do you think this new direction will actually be in an Abby-centric story, will actually end up being successful for the show going forward? Or do you think Season 3, much like I do, will end up being even worse than Season 2 when it comes to the ratings? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check the links in the description as well. All right, from CosmicBook.News and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. And honestly, just at any time when anything that involves Pedro Pascal fails, it just makes me happy. I can't stand that man absolutely in any way, shape, or form. HBO has released official numbers revealing that The Last of Us Season 2 has lost over half its audience. The Season 2 premiere brought in 5.3 million viewers across the platforms, but the finale, released Sunday, was only watched by 3.7 million, a 30% drop from the premiere and a staggering 55% drop compared to the Season 1 finale, which drew in 8.2 million viewers. That is absolutely insane. Like, that is borderline like Doctor Who, worst in the 60th year anniversary history of that kind of number. I mean, those kind of millions out there, like, yeah, it sounds good to a lot of people out there, but when you just have to compare it to last year's numbers, and that's insane. To lose over half your audience, that's what we saw happen to Rings of Power, right? From Season 1 to Season 2. Now you're seeing the exact same thing happen with The Last of Us. How well is that going to go over for the next season? How much more money is Warner Brothers going to blow on this absolute failure of a series? HBO blames Memorial Day weekend for viewership drop. Of course it is. Everybody was out there having fun at the lake and hanging out with their friends and family and barbecuing. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of truth to that very good possibility out there. But at the end of the day, like, it's still, that's a 50% drop. That's insane. It means people didn't care enough that Sunday night, by the time they were all done with all of their daytime activities, they decided to not turn on HBO and watch this show. That's pretty insane. So, of course, they say the audience will grow significantly due to low viewer levels on the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Of course. Well, tell that to the box office of Lilo and Stitch. Plenty of people out there going to see the movies. Even with that excuse, the sharp decline in viewership throughout Season 2 can't be ignored. Rather than building momentum like Season 1, the latest season lost steam episode after episode. It raises real question about fan interest, especially after the controversial story developments early in the season. Did the major spoiler in episode 2 turns fan off for good? We'll know more soon, as the upcoming Nielsen ratings will cover the week episode 3 aired. If there's a major drop, it would confirm what many fans already suspect: the audiences are tuning out, because obviously it takes a few weeks for the Nielsen ratings to actually end up coming in, so they give you kind of a better assessment than like the official numbers that Warner Brothers and all those kind of people try to tout out there. It'll give us more comparisons to comparisons. Rotten Tomatoes comparing it to Rotten Tomatoes, Apple's not comparing them to oranges and all of that kind of stuff. Well, we get more insights into the Live Plus same day release by Programming Insider, which shows that season 1 grew, with the viewership basically doubling, which carried over to season 2. However, the season 2 numbers dropped considerably compared to the last 4 episodes of season 1 and the premiere of season 2. The popularity and success of season 1 that led to season 2 also explains why season 2 amasses more average viewers over time than season 1. But again, we see the viewership is on decline, unlike the first season. So literally you saw the series grow with every episode going on from season 1 all the way up until the end, whereas the direct opposite, they started out big and they have been steadily declining over and over again over every episode. And contrary to the media spin out there of them trying to push this stuff, Rotten Tomatoes is highlighting The Last of Us season 2 as a critical success, announcing this week on X that the show is certified fresh with a 90% rating on the tomato based on 238 critic reviews. However, noticeably absent from the post is any mention of the show's significantly lower audience score, currently sitting at 39%. And as you can see now from the time we've actually checked this out, it is currently sitting at a 38%. Fans and audiences aren't happy. The drama was okay, but the choice of casting for the main lead is really questionable. I think this season is produced without enthusiasm, despite the fact that the first season is quite far from the real story of the game and contains certain small details change. This second season only gets worse. Honestly, the characters do not transmit the same, as well as the scenes being compared to the game. It's simply not the same. Now, there are arguments out there, this is a bunch of trolls, this is a bunch of review bombing and yada, 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 and all that nonsense. But if you're just a troll, if you're just in here for just trying to downplay the score for the sake of downplaying the score, why are you going to write a paragraph about what you're talking about? Very short season with one good episode, major laydown, worst show I think I've seen in a few years. These could easily be trolls, but this one, I mean, you're going to write a paragraph if you're a troll, and most of these are paragraphs that people are writing, bashing this show. Extremely boring and flat. Even the exciting action sequences don't make up for the meandering plot line. A full episode of flashbacks felt like a lazy choice. Now, this person liked it, but this one, 2.5. More of this kind of stuff. This could easily be an upvote just for the sake of upvoting. Love the season, no complaints. 5 stars. But like everybody else writes a paragraph on this one. Says, I want to start by saying that I believe I am one of the biggest fans of the Last of Us franchise, says Mason. I have 100%ed every game and their remasters. It was the first game I ever played in 2013, and I've been playing ever since. In my opinion, it is the greatest story that is ever told in any form of media. I mean, look how long this goes on. Is this really just a troll media? In my opinion, naturally, I assumed that I was going to be skeptical of the show. Briefly, I will mention that season 1 really impressed me. It had its errors, but I would say I was impressed. Now I'll continue my critique of season 2. I am an expert on the game. I could probably recite every cutscene and level from memory. My critiques have nothing to do with the game because I feel like that is unfair, being not everyone has played the game, nor will my critiques be towards has any of the actors look, because that does not matter. This season had excellent opportunity to take calculated risks to make the viewer ponder, but failed to do so. The season felt so empty of actual emotion because the writers were forcing what they wanted me to feel down my throat. There were 0 surprises. If I were more sensitive, I would be offended that the writers don't trust me to be able to know what someone is feeling based on their actions and not their words. The therapist is the biggest cop-out. She has no influence in the story other than the characters let me know how they are feeling, like I didn't know based on my own empathy. Ellie's character showed no sense of growth and maturity in the 5 years after the end of season 1. After everything her and Joel went through in the first season, traveling all across America, you'd think she'd be anything but dumb. Yet her character is written in a way that she is ditzy. I never once felt like she was on a bloodthirsty revenge path. It felt like watching a teenager's honeymoon on some sort of cheesy sitcom waiting for the laugh track. Overall, I'm disappointed that they turned something I loved into something that has been so annoying to watch. I hope they rework it in the 3rd season. Is that a troll, boys and girls? I mean, would a troll write this much if he's just review bombing the show like the Access Media has tried to claim over and over and over again? And the numbers back it up, right? The audience, losing half your audience from season 1 to season 2 backs up this Rotten Tomatoes audience score out here. Because the critics don't matter when it comes to actual viewership numbers. They've never actually mattered when it comes to how much money you make on a series or anything else. All they are is simps for the spirit of the age, trying to push their agenda and trying to make sure that they still have access to all of you guys out there and all of the rest of their nonsense and BS. This is not the first time we've seen this. It won't be the last time, and it will show you that at the end of the day, the audiences are the only ones that matter. Their decisions, their opinions, and their rating and their score is what decide whether or not a series is a success or a failure. Is there going to be a season 3 of The Last of Us? Absolutely. Warner Brothers already confirmed it. Are the numbers going to be even worse than season 2? 100% hands down. This series has lost half its audience from season 1 to season 2, and they are making their voices heard. Not only by tuning out of your show, but the few people that are watching out there, the 5,000 plus ratings that you've got on this have given it a certified rotten score, and the numbers back that up. So you can cry and whine and say it's review bombing and it's just a bunch of ists and a bunch of phobes out there, like we have heard a million times before from Hollywood and the gaming industry and everybody else. And guess what? Whine and cope and cry all you want. Make up whatever kind of lie BS's. Spin the news however you want to try to turn into a headline that makes it sound favorable to the studios who you are worshiping at the altar, making sure you still have your access and making sure you're still all buddy and cushy with them. At the end of the day, we know all of your lies and BS do not matter because the audience has spoken and they have checked out of Last of Us Season 2. You have lost half your audience, Warner Brothers, from Season 1 to Season 2, and all of the media spin in the world will not be able to deny that fact. This series is a massive loss and a massive failure for Warner Brothers Discovery, and they will lose even more money, waste hundreds of millions of dollars of more on Season 3, only to watch it fail even more miserably before Warner Brothers finally decides to do the smart thing and cancel this show. At the end of the day, you have gone down these paths, you have walked down this path of destruction and decided to go with something that was clearly a huge, major disservice to the audience and the fans out there. And you thought, hey, let's go down the exact same path and we'll think something else will happen. Because of course, the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And if anybody out there who is honest out there didn't see this coming, boy, do I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. But needless to say, The Last of Us Season 2 is a critical and abysmal failure when it comes to the audiences and the fans. And after all, Warner Brothers Discovery, you did it to yourself, and you've gotten exactly what you've deserved.